Glad to know you're still with us. The Federal Inland Revenue Service in Nigeria has developed a real-time portal to track VAT-eligible electronic transactions, mandating integration from banks, card schemes, fintechs, and payment service providers. The transaction monitoring system aims to plug tax leakages in the digital economy by monitoring transactions in real time and ensuring transparency. FIRS claims the system uses encryption and AI-driven validation to maintain transaction integrity. Non-compliance will attract penalties, with 1 million naira for the first day of failure to grant system access and 10,000 naira for each additional day of default. The move marks a significant shift in tax enforcement, enabling FIRS to assess taxpayer thresholds and reconcile invoices automatically. Joining me for more on this, I have Olusesan Okunade, chartered accountant and tax consultant. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to our viewers across the globe. Glad to be here this morning.
Glad to have you too. I mean, you've seen what the FIRS has done, developing a real-time portal to track all VAT-eligible electronic transactions. And of course, we know it's mandating integration from banks, card schemes, fintechs, payments service providers. Some would say that was quick. I mean, it was just June 26 here. We saw assent to that particular act, and then maybe better late than never for some other people. But what do you think? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad to have me this morning. I'm sure you know since the inception of technology into our tax collection model with the use of FIRS tax promise and even subnationals that has plugged into some of this electronic way of doing things, it has drastically exposed certain things and also give room to increase in revenue collection, blocking leakages. And I think this is one of the reasons why the FIRS, that in no distance time, we have their name changed to the Nigerian Revenue Service, NRS, to be collecting revenue on behalf of the government. A lot of us have said it times before now that the way to go is by automating the process and bringing transparency to the way things are actually being done. This new TMS that is being introduced by FIRS, which NRS by January 1st, is not really to collect it. It's just to give a monitoring stuff to those that may want to evade tax one way or the other. The manual way of doing some of these things is becoming a thing of the past. Don't forget that one of the things that is in the new Tax Administration Act is to have an electronic invoicing. E-invoicing that will actually be carried out by most organizations as they have their businesses go on now. We are seeing better days ahead in areas of tax administration in the country and revenue collection, given a bolder face to the fiscal transparency that we have been advocating for. I believe that with this, government will be put on their toes too. As they collect this, we have accountability of what some of these funds are actually being used for to grow the business, most especially the MSMEs in the country.
Well, is that automatic? Because on the one hand, we have people who would say they wouldn't want to pay taxes because they haven't seen what the government is doing with what it has. On the other hand, when you look at tax to GDP, it's abysmally poor in Nigeria. Of course, there are efforts to improve that. And so you look at all of this and then you ask yourself, you know, how do we strike a balance here? How do we ensure that the government does not just collect these monies, but is also able to deliver at the end of the day if it has not done much with that which it already has?
Okay, thank you very much. I know very well when the president set up this presidential task force under the leadership of Taiwo Udele. Part of the mandate he gave to them is not just to bring out the policy. He has asked them one way or the other to make sure that the implementation is see through too. And that's why we are seeing some of the introduction of technology. We've said it times to that number that you need those that are outside the normal civil service to be infused into it. We are seeing PPP working out, both the private and the public consolidating to see how to move things out. You see, the area of implementation, a lot of people are now opening their eyes to some of these things to see area of infrastructure. And don't forget, the other agencies empowered with the area of, the anti-graft agency are not sleeping on their horses too. So as they are having more revenue, people are following through. And the people that are involved with this particular thing do not want their name stained because they know they have future, even beyond the shore of this country, in having a lot to actually gather. So I would say that it's on our own part first to comply with some of the initiatives that is actually being carried out by the presidential tax force, the new intro in terms of the tax law that is just being signed by Mr. President in June. And we keep an eye, every NGOs, every civil CLOs should come out now and engage government on the utilization of funds, not what we had when we had liberalization, the removal of fuel subsidy, and we are being made to understand that go and address the state government. If that will be, definitely everybody must be on the talking time to engage for transparency, accountability, open window where some of these funds are actually being made use of, which we definitely encourage. We want a situation where infrastructure are being developed to enhance businesses, where our power system is being improved to have 24-hour supply and pay less in area of which we are going to do. So if we are able to follow through with the introduction of this automation system to monitor things, I'm sure a lot of people themselves are waiting because nobody will pay so much and expect government to just keep their hand and say, then you've paid. Well, we cannot account for it. I think it's another discussion that a lot of people would definitely want to follow through because you can't pay more without getting dividend for the things that you have paid for.
Well, beyond engagement, because that seems to be the only solution we probably have as citizens of Nigeria, we know the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025 prescribes a lot of punishment for individuals and corporations who do not sort of do what they're supposed to do. But who punishes the government for not doing what it's supposed to do? I think that's something we probably have to, that's a rhetorical question anyway. I just decided to put that in. Now, we're looking at what's happening now. You have said it's part of the push to plug tax leakages in the fast-growing digital economy. But do you have any concerns whatsoever about this move, whether it is data breaches or whatever? Because there are those who would say, who would want to bring up, data privacy and all of this, why do you have to plug in things and all that? Maybe just help us, talk about this.
Yeah, you see, the FIRS, I don't work with them and I'm not their spokesperson. A thorough dive into what you're saying about data privacy have been put into consideration. Don't forget, we have the National Data Protection Agency who actually did their working off, and they know the implication of exposing, the data of people. There are penalties, even on the part of the agencies that are collecting this when you breach the area of that data privacy. Part of the features which they have actually said is that they have serious encryption. We know that those hackers too are not resting on their oasis. But I think with the success of the Pro Max, which FIRS introduced a few years back, they've learned some things that they cannot toy with the data information of those that they're actually working on. They are working hand in hand with the Nigerian Data Protection Agency to make sure that any breach, even the government on themselves, we have to pay for it. So I think it's something we should just embrace as we speak. There should not be cause for any fear on the part of those that will actually exhibit this, because it is not going to be one-sided any longer. Those that are at the end of things now in terms of this fiscal policy have been on the other side, and they know the implication. As a matter of fact, they work with some of their friends who, when things happen, will be able to quote and penalize that. It's not just you penalizing us. It's about you to fulfilling your own obligation of protecting our information. I think areas where a lot of businesses need to work on now is how they will improve on their infrastructure. Don't forget, part of the things that we have in the new law is this e-invoicing that we start introducing. How do you have a plug-in with your own current system to actually be able to carry out this operation? You now see a lot of organizations, stopping the attitude of writing invoices manually, at least for those corporate organizations, to integrate into e-invoicing, which will give a lot of transparency on the part of the deliverables. both on the part of those that are actually paying the taxes and the administrator in administering correctly what they are supposed to do. It will ease the area of audit. As a matter of fact, we are saying that audit might be a thing of the past because now you have the information online real time and you can take the decision even when people are failing to comply with the statutory act.
Well, that's quite interesting, but I would like us to take a look at models from other parts of the world, even including Africa, because we have some countries in Africa that are doing very well in that regard, where transactions, and payments are unmissable by tax authorities. Do you mind talking to us about some of the models that they have adopted and how successful it has been so far? Maybe lessons also for Nigeria from that.
Yeah, I think the team put together by Mr. President, they didn't work in silo. They actually explore some of those things. If you go to South Africa, their GDP, their tax to GDP area is far higher than what we experience in the country currently, and that's why they have given themselves a target of increasing that to about 18% before the end of this fiscal year as we carry on. You've seen the likes of Kenya, the likes of Rwanda are plugged in. That's the African setting. And a majority of those people, what they have adopted is automation of the system. When you automate the system, it brings out transparency on the part of those that are paying and those that are actually administering it. Then you'll be able to engage the government on the area of utilization. I'm sure you will be shocked that very soon there will be agencies that will definitely be given a report on what some of these funds are actually being used for, so that there won't be crisis. Because when people don't get value for what they are actually being paid for, it becomes an issue on the part of them continuing to comply with ease. Then you see repeatedly an aspect of evasion. And I'm sure government is aware of this and they are up to the task to make sure that there is strict utilization of funds being generated, most especially in the area of revenue collection. A lot of us will concentrate more on tax, but don't forget that this committee will be streamlining revenue collection to avert multiplicity of taxes, fines, fees that are being paid by different agencies. By the time this take effect, January 1st, you discover that all the revenue agencies will streamline what they are collecting. Their focus is to reduce from 63 taxes and levies that we currently have to single digits, which a lot of us are actually happy about, but we are waiting for the implementation when this kickstarts in January. A lot of people should open themselves up to getting information because so many things are happening at the same time. And if you lag behind, the penalty is not easy to come by, but they are going to be very strict in making sure that is done. So when you don't have the knowledge, it's not an excuse. Make yourself available to know the up-to-date information that is going on with the fiscal policy that is being carried out in our country.
Interesting. Maybe you should share some of these penalties with us or some of these wrongdoings, whether it is registration failure and then maybe patronizing or registered vendors or not even maintaining business records and all of this. Because when you look at that, on the one hand, it's actually good for the businesses. You do not want to run business and at the end of the day, you're not keeping good records or you're interacting or interfacing with unregistered entities. I mean, that's even a risk on the one hand. But talk to us, about some of this penalties and maybe wrongdoing. So just like you said, businesses will know how to prepare and gear themselves up for the days ahead. I mean, we're talking January 1st, 2026 here.
Okay, maybe I will start from this area. I'm sure in the Act, we have in the Gazette that small and medium businesses, which a lot of us refer to, maybe the informal sector and the likes, any businesses that is running below 50 million now, 50 million and below, will definitely be exempted from paying company income tax and also some other taxes. What this implies is that you don't just come with mere words of mouth to say, this is what it is. You must be able to have proper documentation. And that's why for those that may not be knowledgeable enough on how to go about this, might just be out there to engage the service of consultants to assist at least laying the right foundation for your businesses to grow. It's not something that we can actually explain in details here. So that speaks to the informal sector, the small and medium enterprise. It is not about gainsaying or a mere word of mouth stating the business nature. It's about having proper documentation to reflect that you are not actually, you are doing below 50 million, and that's when you can be excluded. Also, on the part of even those that have the right structure, it is high time that you do the right thing at the right time for you not to be caught in the web of penalties. Some of these areas are when fees are actually collected on behalf of the government, the timely remittance of some of those things. Let me take, for example, you're expected to remit your VAT before 21st of every month. These they are going to be very adhering to, and it's system automated. When you don't do that, every day by day, you start accumulating penalty. So it's not about I don't like a president, I don't like Sheson, he doesn't like my company, he just wants to. It's the system, and the system does not know individual concern. So it's expected of you to actually do. We've even been encouraging people that don't wait till the last minute where you'll be talking about system glitches that will now attract penalty to you. If the filing date is 21st, why don't you try as much as possible to carry out all you need to do a day before or at the early hours of that particular day to about this? These are few things that every organization needs to adhere to now in such a way that they will not be caught in the web. The penalties are much. I may not be able to itemize them all,
Absolutely.
but I'm not always concerned about penalty. I'm concerned about you doing what you're supposed to do at the right time, and you'll be seeing yourself not caught in the web of paying any penalty to the government.
All right, so just before we close, we're talking about the fact that implementation starts next year. So of all the bills that have now been signed into law, they have their various provisions. Which of the provisions do you really look forward to that you think will be very, very good for Nigerians, businesses, and maybe will also help cushion the impact of the high, interest rate environment we're currently in?
Yeah, well, I will look at the area of the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, which speaks to how taxes are actually being administered. You see, the major problem that businesses are facing currently is the multiplicity of tax payments and levies. Different agencies collecting the same fee with different nomenclature, impacting on the growth of every businesses. If you speak to the other aspect of it, the exemption that is actually being given to the small and medium businesses, we allow leverage for them to even, cash back some of these things that they are supposed to pay as tax or levies, and plow them back into their businesses for growth. We want a situation where small businesses can migrate into medium, and from medium to large enterprise, and attract foreign direct investment to even grow our economy. If you have inconsistency in your tax policy or fiscal policy, or not even having a good handshake between the fiscal and the monetary policy, it creates an impending doom for business investment in the country. And we are seeing this coming together now for them to have an handshake. If you're able to work hand in hand, both the fiscal and the monetary policy, right, I'm sure the interest rate will definitely lose time, and every citizen of the country will be beneficiary of the goods that are embedded in this.
Absolutely, everybody will benefit from it. Thank you so much, Olusesan Okunade, chartered accountant and tax consultant. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
It's a pleasure to start the day with you. Have a wonderful day.
Absolutely. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll bring you international business headlines. Stay with us, don't go.